on our backs. And take your legs nice and long, at least as wide as your mat. And move anything out of the way that your arms can potentially reach. And then take your arms out so you're in a starfish pose here. Draw the shoulder blades gently under the back and just find that neutral spine so you'll have a little curvature in the lower back. And then close your eyes. Allow yourself to feel the sensations of this pose without exerting any effort. Take a scan from the top of the head, through the arms, chest and belly, hips and glutes, thighs, calves and shins, and feet. And see if there's any place where you can release any effort. If you need to readjust a little, go ahead and do that. Allow your head to be heavy into the mat. And we will stay here for 5 slow, full rounds of breath. And once again, tune back into this pose. I love this pose for what it represents to me. It represents that rest is actually active. I'm feeling this stretch in my upper arms and my triceps. And so you don't always have to be doing something to be productive, to be useful, to be worthy. Sometimes these rest positions serve just as much purpose as hard driving and effortful poses. Take one more deep breath here, this time bringing the breath all the way down to the belly. Fill it up. Hold that belly in extension, push it out, and then exhale gently back out through the nose. Let the belly deflate. On the next inhale, begin to rise up, bending the knees into the chest. Find yourself in a little ball. So get as tiny as you can, bringing the forehead toward the knees. Holding here, drawing the shoulder blades apart by really hugging those knees. And then fully extend back into that starfish pose with control. And then the next breath, find that tiny ball again, hugging the shins so that the knees come in toward the chest. Bring the chin or the forehead as close to the knees as you can. And then extend here. And we'll do that just one more time. On the next breath, come into that tiny ball, knees into the chest. Really hug those shins. Take a full breath here. And then fully extend into that starfish pose. Allow the body to reset. Noticing if that tiny ball brought in any tension that you can release. Draw the shoulder blades underneath the body. And then send the feet long toward the bottom of the mat, bringing the legs together, toes pointed, and bring the palms to touch up and overhead, taking a big stretch here. And then draw the arms down by the sides. Bend the knees to bring the soles of the feet back to the mat. And you can keep the eyes open or closed here. Tuck the pelvis under so that the sacrum is in full connection with the mat. So there should be no arch in that lower spine, just for a moment here. And then sweep the arms out to the sides. So the arms are in a T. The pelvis is tucked, sacrum is on the mat. And then on your next inhale, bring that left arm up and overhead so that your arms are in an L shape. Your right arm is straight out of the shoulder and the left arm comes straight up and overhead. And then continue moving that left arm over until the palm of the left hand meets the palm of the right hand. Let the knees drop over toward the right, finding yourself in this arm extended fetal position. And then you can continue drawing the left arm across the right forearm, right upper arm, and then extending the arm back into a T. So leave the knees where they are for now. We'll leave them there for the duration of this moving pose. And then once again, sweep that left arm up and overhead, finding your arms in an L shape, and then continuing the sweeping motion of that left arm until palm meets palm. And then continuing sweeping the left fingertips across the body until the arms are in a T. So take a few of these sweeping motions. Left arm comes up and over until it meets the right. Moving. Gaze can follow the hand from side to side. You can stay static. We're just slowly opening up the shoulder joint here, tapping into the body. And knowing that these slow, gentle movements still represent our worthiness, are just as useful as those fast movements. And then the next time your arms open up into a T, stay there. And we'll take one more round with that left hand. This time, find a spot where you can really feel the sensation. So for me, it's just before my arm goes straight up over my head, and I can feel it in the backside of my left shoulder. But see where you feel it most. And then spend a breath or two there, really breathing in to what your body is feeling. And after you've taken a couple of breaths there, you can continue the movement. Palm to palm, opening back up, and this time bringing the knees up to face the ceiling. Retuck that sacrum, retuck the pelvis. And we'll take this movement to the other side. So this time you'll begin to sweep the right arm up and overhead, moving nice and slowly. So find that L shape first, with the right arm pointing up toward the top of your mat and the left arm straight out to the side. And then continue that movement over until the right palm meets the left palm. And drop the knees over to the left side. They'll stay there for the duration of this move. Then begin to drag the right fingertips along the left forearm, across the chest, until you come with your arms back out into a T. Continuing that movement, you know where we're headed now. So palm to palm, gaze can move with you or not. And then after palm to palm, gently drag the fingertips across the body. So tapping into these subtle connections, subtle movements. Maybe for the next round, see if you can move just a little more slowly. And the next time your arms open up into a T, stay there. And then for this last round, find a spot that you want to spend a couple of breaths. And it might be a totally different spot than the first side. Once you find that spot, really breathe into it. And then when you're ready, continue that movement around, finding palm to palm, and eventually opening back up, arms into a T. Bring the knees back to center, soles of the feet on the mat. Tuck the sacrum under, finding full connection with the spine, and sweep the arms up and overhead. This energy out through the fingertips. And then sweep the arms down by the side, palms face down. From here, just roll over onto one side for a moment, and then flip yourself all the way onto your belly. Find Sphinx pose for a moment. So the elbows will be just about under the shoulders, maybe slightly in front of the shoulders. And draw the legs together, making one long line with the legs. Gaze down toward the fingertips and press into the forearms to stay nice and lifted. And we'll stay here for a couple of rounds of breath. And then slowly lower the head down. You can release the arms out long in front of you. And then press into the palms just to slowly raise the head back up. You can bring the palms in a little bit, finding a gentle back bend here. And then you'll sweep the right arm underneath the left. Palm faces up. And then the left arm crosses over the right. Palm faces up. So scoot the elbows in close to the body. So I'll show you this from a different angle. So you've got the right arm underneath the left. And then allow your body weight to rest down. So you should begin to feel this in your shoulders. If you have a block or another prop handy, you can let your forehead fully rest down, or you could just let your chin rest on that upper arm. And the longer we stay here, the more intense it can get. So really breathe into that intensity. If you ever feel any pinching or pain, back out of this pose. We'll be here for a few more rounds of breath. Really just allow yourself to settle here. See if you can find some peace and ease in this pose. And then leave the right arm, the arm that's underneath, right where it is. Begin to rise back up to release that left arm. And then roll onto the right shoulder, bringing the left leg on top of the right. The right arm is extended. And then bend the knees in toward the chest as you bring the left arm out to the side. So we've been here before. And then find that extended arm fetal position again. So the left arm comes on top of the right. Extend the legs long with the left leg on top of the right leg. And then you can use that left hand on the top to just help you come back onto your belly. Extend the arms out long in front of you. Bend at the elbows. We'll find that Sphinx pose again before we move to the other side. So get the elbows just about under the shoulders. Legs are zipped up behind you. Press into the forearms to stay lifted out of the shoulders, finding that gentle back bend. Gaze in between the fingertips. And then we'll move to the other side. So you can slowly lower yourself down. Find the palms out in front of you. And then sweep that left arm all the way underneath the right. And then the right arm crosses over the left, palms face up. Allowing, you can even, if you're not feeling this enough, here's another option, is you can tuck your toes in and just shift your weight a little bit forward, just like this. And that'll give you a little bit more stretch in the shoulders. Once you find where you feel comfortable, you can rest the chin on the forearm or the forehead on a block. Breathe into the static effort of this pose. We'll take one more breath here. And then leave that bottom arm, the left arm, right where it is. Begin to unwind the right arm, using it as a little kickstand to help you roll further onto that left shoulder, right leg on top of left this time. And then bend the knees in toward the body as you open up the right arm out to the side. Finding that twist. So the gaze is over the right shoulder, the knees are toward the left side of your mat. Take a couple breaths here. Even close the eyes is always a nice way to just tap into the body. And then if your eyes are closed, gently open them back up. And this time we'll just roll back onto our back. So continue that twist with the knees facing the ceiling. And then hug the knees into the chest. Nice big squeeze. You can leave the head heavy on the ground. And then clasp either behind your thighs or in front of your shins. I think behind the thighs is a little bit better positioning to rock and roll until you eventually find your way up to a seated position, all the way up. And just find your legs in Baddha Konasana for a moment, bringing the soles of the feet together and sitting up nice and tall. Roll the shoulders up and back, and then draw them forward, up and down, and then up, back, and down. Okay, Nice. From here, you'll extend your legs nice and wide. So whatever wide means to you. Toes point toward the ceiling. Sit up nice and tall. And then gently bring the fingertips out in front of you. Staying tall, you can stay right here, or you can begin to walk the hands out in front of you. So we haven't opened up the hips or the thighs too much yet, so don't worry about going too deep. Keep that flat back, drawing the chest forward, staying long out of the neck and the crown of the head. And as you breathe in and settle into this pose, maybe you walk your fingertips out a little further, but maybe not. It's not really the goal. We'll be here for 2 more rounds of breath. So see if there's any place where you can soften in. And then slowly rise back up. And inhale the arms up and overhead. Bring that left arm down to the inside of the thigh. Right arm reaches out, and then side bend, sweeping that left arm over toward the inside of the right thigh. I can even bring it on top of the right thigh for a little leverage. And then the right arm reaches up and overhead. So stay nice and lifted here, rather than crunching all the way over. Feel that side bend, feel your legs working to keep you nice and lifted. That arm has energy through it. And then rise back up. Bring both arms up and overhead. And then this time, bring the right arm to the inside of the right thigh. And as you send the energy out of those left fingertips, bend a little bit over and sweep that right arm over toward the left inner thigh or the top of the thigh. Find that side body stretch. Tap into that strength that you just have to use during these static poses. We'll be here for another round of breath. And then slowly unwind, sending both arms up to the sky. And arms can come down by the side. Sweep the legs together so the soles of the feet are facing straight out. And flex through those toes and sit up nice and tall. And then from here, draw the left knee into the chest. And then draw it up and over the right thigh. So you've crossed here. Readjust. If your belly is twisted out toward the side, readjust it so that it's facing forward, and then flex those right toes. Sweep the arms up and overhead again. And then twist over toward the left, wrapping that forearm, and this time twisting the belly even further over toward the left. The left arm can be used as a kickstand. And if you're feeling already especially open, you can hook that elbow instead of wrapping the forearm, but be gentle with yourself here. It's not a competition to get into the deepest expression of your pose. Twisting through. And then gently unwind. Keep that top bent knee where it is for a moment, and bend the bottom leg, bringing the right heel in toward the glute. And then you can further bend through the left leg so that you're bringing knee on top of knee here. So find knee on top of knee. Flex through the feet. Sit up nice and tall. And then inhale the arms up and overhead. And bend through that left elbow here. And you can use the right hand to help scoot it more toward the center. And if you know you're already really open, you can sweep the right arm out to the side, flip the palm. Maybe your fingertips clasp in the back. Maybe not though. Sitting up nice and tall. Flex through the feet. And then slowly unclasp the fingertips. You can release both arms out into a T and then release them down to the side. We'll come out of this the same way we came in it. So first bring the left sole of the foot back to the ground so the knee faces up toward the ceiling. And then extend the right leg out long. And then you can uncross the left leg and extend it long. Just give the legs a little shake. And we'll move to the other side. So bring that right knee in toward the inner left thigh. Sit up nice and tall first. And if you need to move any flesh out of the way so that you're sitting on your sits bones, feel free to do that. And then cross that right foot over the left thigh. Flex through the left toes. Reach the arms up and overhead. And then twist over toward the right, hooking the forearm around that bent knee. Twisting through the belly. And if you want to, you can hook the elbow instead of the forearm. I'm sticking with the forearm today. And you can send your gaze over toward the side or over that back shoulder. Just 1 or 2 more breaths here to twist through the belly. And then slowly unwind, coming back to center. Keeping that crossed leg right where it is. And then bending through the left leg, bringing the heel toward the glute, and then continuing to cross the top leg so that you are knee over knee. And I like to kind of press into my palms here so that I can scoot that flesh out of the way so I can sit up nice and tall. Sitting up tall. And then inhale the arms out to the side, and you can bend the right arm behind. So I'm gonna flip around here. And then you can use the left arm to scoot that hand closer toward the center of the shoulder blades. And you can stay right here, or you can sweep the top arm out to the side, maybe clasping fingertips. I can't clasp fingertips on this side, even though I could on the other side. So I'm going to stay here, using my top arm to help my bent arm a little bit. One more breath, sitting up nice and tall. And then release the arms, sweeping them out to the side, and then down to the ground as we slowly come out of this pose. Bend through that right knee, bringing it back up to the ceiling. Sole of the right foot is on the ground. Then extend the left leg long out in front of you. Uncross the foot and send both legs out in front of you. Give them a little shake. Nice. Okay, sweep the knees to one side, coming into tabletop pose. Take a couple rounds of cat-cow here. Inhale to drop the belly, lift the gaze, and exhale to round the spine, drop the crown of the head. One more time. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. This time, send the glutes all the way toward the heels. So coming into this modified child's pose. If you're feeling open enough, you can bring the toes together and knees nice and wide to feel that hip opener, dropping the chest and the belly toward the ground in between the thighs. So send the arms out long in front of you. Keep the energy moving through those arms by keeping the elbows off of the mat. You can even tent through the fingertips to get a little bit more opening in the upper back. Settle here for 2 rounds of breath. And then palms back on the mat if they aren't already. And you can bring the palms to meet, so palms face one another, and elbows can find their way to the mat. Stretch out long through the arms, bend through the elbows to find that prayer pose at the back of the head. And then you can walk the elbows out even a little bit more, so we're getting that opening in the upper back and in the triceps. And then extend the arms out long. Press into the palms. Come back up into your tabletop pose. And then tuck the toes. Push yourself back into downward facing dog. Pedal it out just a little bit here. Find that long, straight spine. And we're going to take 3 rounds of sun salutation A to warm the body up a little bit. So this is a really gentle practice today so that we can tap into the body, acknowledge all the effort that we're exerting, even when it doesn't really look like it from the outside. So as you, on your next inhale, step, hop, or jump to the top of the mat. Inhale to halfway lift. And exhale to forward fold. Sweep the arms out, up, and overhead. Palms come to touch. Gaze goes overhead. Exhale, hands through center. Release the arms. Inhale the arms overhead. And hinge at the hips as you fold forward. Plant the hands, stepping back into plank pose. Lower down the knees, chest and chin. Keep the hips nice and high. And then push off of those feet. Inhale up, baby cobra, untuck the toes. Exhale, release. Tuck the toes and come back through tabletop for just a moment and then meeting back in downward facing dog. Track the heels down toward the mat. Put a slight bend in the knees. And then step, hop, or float your way to the top of the mat. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Sweep the arms out, up and overhead. And exhale, hands through heart center. Inhale the arms out and up. Exhale as you hinge at the hips, fold forward, stepping back through plank pose. You can take your version of vinyasa here. I'm going to stick with knees, chest, and chin. Inhale up to baby cobra. Exhale to release. Tuck the toes. Meeting back in downward facing dog. Just one more sun A for this round. Step, hop, or float your way to the top. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. Sweep the arms out, up and overhead. Exhale, hands through heart center. Release the hands, palm face forward. Inhale the arms out and up. Exhale to hinge at the hips as you fold forward, stepping back into plank pose, taking your version of vinyasa. Meet back in downward facing dog. And take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. One more of those. From here, step, hop, or float to the top of your mat. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. Sweep the arms out, up, and overhead. And then exhale, hands through heart center. Release the arms down by the side. From here, just step that left foot all the way to the back of the mat for just a moment. And then pivot so that all 10 toes are facing the long side of your mat. Bring your hands to your waist. And then bring the heels in, toes out slightly. And then bend through those knees and sweep the arms out cactusing through the arms, finding goddess pose here. So hug the shoulder blades together behind you. And then as you exhale, you're going to round through the spine and bring the forearms together. You can drop the chin toward the chest. Stay strong through the legs. Inhale, back open. Gaze can gently go up toward the ceiling. And then exhale, forearms together, chin drops. Inhale, gaze up, arms open. And exhale, bring it together, spine rounds. Inhale up. And exhale together. Inhale up and stay there. Stay strong through those legs as you sweep the arms up and overhead. Palms come to touch. You can hook the thumbs. And we'll stay here for just 2 more rounds of breath. And then straighten through the legs. Bring the toes to face the side of the mat. Sweep the arms out to the side as you hinge through the hips. Readjusting your stance if you need to. Mine felt a little bit close together, so I'm gonna take it a little bit wider. Finding that forward fold here. So you can bring the palms to the mat, stay up on your fingertips, or you can even walk your hands underneath the body toward the back of your mat. So just find where you're feeling a big stretch in the back of the legs, where you can reconnect with your natural inhales and exhales, and just drop the head. So the crown of the head faces the mat, neck is nice and long. And then you can walk the hands back toward the front of the mat. Find a low lunge here. So the left leg is nice and straight and long. And then drop that left knee down toward the mat. Untuck the toes. And bring the arms up and overhead. Then reframe that right foot. Tuck the left toes, knee comes up off the mat. And then just draw the left toes toward the top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. Sweep the arms out, up and overhead. And exhale, hands through heart center, palms down by the side. We'll send that right leg toward the back of the mat. And then just find your wide-legged stance toward the other side of your mat. I'm gonna face you again. So we're in our wide-legged stance here. All 10 toes are pointed out toward the side of the mat. Bring your hands to your hips. And then once again, find that forward fold here. So fingertips or palms come to the mat. But wherever you are, make sure the wrists are underneath the shoulders. So if you walked your hands back last time, don't do that this time. And then put a slight bend in your knee, just a micro bend so that you're not locking out here. And slowly hover that left hand as you twist under the body to find your right thigh or calf, or maybe your ankle, or if you're super flexy, your toes. So you just are finding this gentle twist under the body. And then if you'd like to, you can hover that right hand, sweep it out to the side. Maybe your right hand finds your left hip so that you're in a full twist here. Wherever you are, see if you can settle in a little bit more. Twist a little bit more through the belly. Two more breaths. And then if you found that bind behind your back, sweep that right arm back down to the ground. Uncross your left arm. And just gently bend through each knee one at a time before we move to the other side. Coming back to center, making sure that you have that slight micro bend in the knees. And this time you'll twist under the body, bringing the right hand over to the left thigh, the left calf, ankle, or foot. And your gaze can stay down toward the mat, or it can be wherever it's comfortable. If you'd like to, you can sweep the left arm over so that it finds your right hip. Just making sure that your hips are staying centered. So don't compromise the leg position in order to go further in any pose. Twist through the belly. Feel that strength in the back of your legs, that stretch. Twist a little bit more. And then unwind the arm. If you've wound it up, and then untwist. Just taking a little bend through the knees. And then you'll walk your hands back toward the top of the mat, framing your left foot this time. Find that low lunge first, and then you can drop that back knee, untucking the toes. Just bring the arms up and overhead. Reframe the left foot. Tuck the right toes, bringing the right knee off the mat. And this time, step it back into downward facing dog. Pedal it out here. Find your flat back. Eventually find some stillness. Body scan for any feeling or emotion that's coming up in the body. On the next inhale, float it forward into plank pose. And lower yourself all the way down to your mat. Forehead finds the ground. Legs are nice and long behind you. And then sweep the fingertips out so that your fingertips are on the wood or carpet that's outside of your mat. And inhale it up, super cobra. Really press into the fingertips to come up nice and high. And exhale, slowly lower down, forehead touches the mat last. Once again, rising up to super cobra. And then you'll dip your right shoulder down toward the mat, gaze over the left shoulder. Coming back to center. Dip your left shoulder down, gaze goes over your right shoulder. Let's take a couple more rounds of that. Dip your right shoulder, gaze goes over the left. Coming back through center, dip the left shoulder, gaze goes over the right. One more round, coming back through center, dip the right shoulder, back through center, dip the left shoulder. Really feeling that opening in the front of the shoulders. Then come back through center, slowly lower yourself all the way down. Bring your hands back into chest height. Tuck the toes. We'll meet back in downward facing dog. I like to come back through my knees lately. It just feels a little more intuitive, feels a little gentler on the back, but you can come back into downward facing dog, however it works for your body. And then inhale the right leg back up behind you. Exhale to step it through in between your hands. Lower the left knee down, untuck the toes, and rise up, bringing the arms up and overhead. Sweep the arms out to a T and then all the way back behind you, finding a clasp of the fingertips. As you straighten the elbows, send that fist down toward the glutes, down toward the ground. Gaze can gently rise up overhead. Draw the shoulder blades together and back. And the gaze can come back to center. Unclasp the hands, sweep them back up and overhead. And then reframe that right foot. Tuck the left toes, bringing the left knee off the mat. Plant the left palm, right arm floats up to the sky. Exhale to release. And then one more time, plant that left palm, right arm floats up to the sky. This time, maybe you send that arm up overhead. So finding this low side angle here. Roll that shoulder back, keeping nice and open. And then exhale to release. Frame that front foot. Step the right foot back. Downward facing dog. Deep breath here, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Inhale the left leg back behind you, and exhale to step it in between the hands. Lower the right knee down. Untuck the toes. Just get yourself set up here. And then inhale the arms up and overhead. Sweep the arms out to a T. This time, as you sweep the arms behind, find the opposite clasp. The one that feels a little funky. And then straighten through the elbows, send that fist down toward the ground. Gaze can gently go up, finding that back bend, settling in to your hips. Draw the shoulder blades together. And then gently rise back to center. Sweep the arms out to the side, and then up and overhead. As you frame that front foot, tuck the right toes, knee comes off the mat. Plant the right palm, left arm floats up to the sky. And then down. And then once again, planting that right palm, left arm floats up to the sky. This time, maybe it comes up and over the ear, but make sure that that top shoulder stays rolled back, staying really open. And then sweep it down to reframe that front foot. And step it back, downward facing dog. Slowly lower the knees all the way down, bring the toes together, knees wide, child's pose. And then walk the hands over toward the right. And you can bring the left palm on top of the right hand. So you get a nice stretch in the left side body, but keep the hips toward the heels. And then walk it back to center. Tent the fingertips, bring the elbows off the mat. Allow the chest and the belly to fall down toward the mat. And then palms back on the mat. And walk the hands over toward the left. Right palm can come on top of the left hand to feel that stretch in the right side body. And then walk it back to center. Bring the palms together, finding that prayer pose. Once again, bending through the elbows. Bring that prayer pose to the back of your neck and then walk the elbows out. Allow the chest to melt toward the mat. Feel the opening through the triceps, maybe through the upper back. And then extend the palms out in front of you. Press into the palms, come back in a tabletop pose. Take one round of cat-cow. Inhale to drop the belly, lift the gaze. Exhale to round the spine, drop the crown of the head. And then neutral spine, and just flip yourself over to a seated position. So cross-legged is fine. Bring the arms out to a T and cross the left arm in front, hooking the right elbow across the top of the left arm. Gaze over the left shoulder. And then unwind, take that cross the other way. So open the arms up, cross the right arm across the body, hook the left arm, gaze over the right shoulder. And then unwind. Bring the arms out to a T. Just sweep them up and overhead. Palms can come to touch. And then sweep them behind you. Find the clasp once again. And then shoot that fist down toward the ground to open up the chest here. Shoulder blades draw together. And from here, drop the cheek over toward the left shoulder and sweep that fist over toward the right hip. And draw the elbow in. Really feel that stretch along the neck. Sitting up nice and tall, always sitting up nice and tall. And then just switch, bringing the head back through center. Drop the cheek over toward the right shoulder and switch that fist over toward the left hip, drawing the elbow back. Just noticing here the opening in the side neck. So if someone were to walk by, this looks really easy. Maybe it feels a little easy. Bring the neck back to center, gaze ahead. Release the fist, bring the arms overhead once again. But even if it's easy, sometimes that's really great for our body. Bring the hands through heart center, and then find yourself on your back. It can encourage confidence. And rest is just such an underrated thing in society. Sweep the arms out to a T, and then drop the knees over toward the right, gaze over toward the left. So allow yourself that rest. Allow yourself to not be going at a level 10 all the time. Bring the knees back through center. And just drop the knees over toward the left, gaze over toward the right. And then back through center. You can draw the knees into the chest and take a happy baby or any other pose that's calling to you. And then we'll enter Shavasana, the ultimate rest. So allow yourself these last few minutes to really take up your space, to settle in and to let the need for doing anything go. Let yourself be here. Over the next breath, you can begin to bring some small movements into your body. And you can bring some bigger movements into the body. And eventually rolling on to one side into fetal position. And whenever you're ready, rising up into your seat. Bring your hands to heart center, spine nice and tall, chin down toward the chest. Acknowledging all the work that you've done, that you do, bringing worthiness into your heart and into your head because you are worthy. Thank you so much for sharing this practice with me. Namaste.